Welcome to this special edition of the tea. You see who's sipping the tea with me, none other than Congressman Hakeem Jefferies, the House Minority Leader who had a sombrero on his head in an AI picture from Donald Trump after a meeting on this government shutdown. Congressman, he was very unserious, wasn't he? Because he was more focused on the sombrero, you looking like you were in a mariachi band.
Incredibly unserious. April, first of all, it's good to be with you. I was expecting a blue Yankee fitted. That's what I normally rock out with. And he goes full sombrero on me because, he's just a xenophobic guy. He can't help himself. That's his default position. But it's all unhinged and unserious during a very serious moment, a government shutdown and a Republican healthcare crisis.
So he didn't mess with Schumer. He didn't do anything to Schumer. So he put that on your head. But did you guys go head to head on the issue of healthcare? Is that why he was mad with you? Because he had to have been mad with you. What raised his ire in that meeting that you gave him?
I think we were very clear with him that we're not going to support a partisan Republican spending bill that guts the healthcare of the American people, period, full stop. And that what we've seen from the Republicans was an all-out assault on the healthcare of urban America and rural America and Black and brown communities throughout America and the heartland of America and small town America, starting with their one big ugly bill, all the way through what they're trying to do right now, which is their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for working class Americans. That's what they refuse to do. Mm-hmm. And we also made clear we weren't going to back down. Like, that was made deadly clear that we have a principled position. Mm-hmm. We'll find bipartisan common ground, but we got to address the Republican healthcare crisis, period, full stop.
So not backing down is going to create what I'm hearing, at least 2 weeks of a shutdown. Already, going in and out of TSA, which is a national security issue. You got a thin TSA at these airports. You've got people concerned about checks coming, people concerned about services. What say you, sir? 2 weeks is a long time for people who are living paycheck to paycheck not to have their money.
Absolutely right. And we're going to continue to stand up for and stand by our TSA agents, our air traffic controllers, our men and women in uniform, all of our federal employees, some of whom have been furloughed, some of whom continue to work without pay until this government shutdown, this Trump Republican shutdown gets resolved. And it's unfortunate that Republicans have decided that they would actually rather shut the government down than provide health care for everyday Americans. That's their position. Mm-hmm. It's an extraordinary position because we've maintained from the beginning, and I still say it, anytime, any place, anywhere, we'll sit down with Donald Trump, with J.D. Vance, with Mike Johnson, with mm-hmm. John Thune, with Republicans mm-hmm. to get to a resolution here on behalf of the American people. But it's got to actually make sense for the American people. We're not going to continue to participate or ever participate in the carnage that they're trying to inflict on the American people.
So the Democrats are saying it's the Republicans' fault. Republicans are saying it's the Democrats' fault. Everybody's standing there trying to figure out who's going to blink first. What we do know is that Republicans are in charge of the House and Senate, the White House, and the Supreme Court. How is it not their fault?
Exactly right. The extremists have complete control of government. What are we missing here? Republicans control the House. Republicans control the Senate. Republicans have the presidency. Republicans have a 6-member conservative majority on the Supreme Court. Everything that happens is on your watch. It's on your watch. By the way, this is day 3 of the Trump Republican shutdown. But understand, as you know, April, it's day 257 of the chaos that has been inflicted on the American people since January 20th of this year, the beginning of the Trump presidency.
So this is the second phase of the chaos. We had the Doge cuts. This is now the second round of the Doge cuts. The president is talking about sifting through the federal ranks, and this is like no big deal to him. It's almost like Marie Antoinette let them eat cake. As you are calling people together, your generals at a tune of $6 million to talk about Barack Obama, how he runs up and down the stairs, and attacking U.S. cities with the military posse comitatus that has been deemed illegal. You are policing military is active. He wants military to actively police communities. Then you're still building that white elephant at the tune of how many $1 million on the side of the White House at ballroom that nobody called for, and people are losing their jobs and their livelihoods. What say you, sir? I mean, is there a safety net that you guys are working on in this moment? What can you do because you're not in charge?
Yeah, well, we believe in a country that has a strong floor and no ceiling. And at the end of the day, you work hard, you play by the rules, you should be able to provide a comfortable life for yourself, for your family, and for your children in every single community. But at the same period of time, America's got to continue to have a strong floor. And we believe that strong floor is Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and nutritional assistance, veterans benefits, and the Affordable Care Act. And what Republicans are doing is actively trying to decimate that floor for the American people. Now, this is the same group of folks, by the way, April, as you know, that in the summer, they jammed their one big ugly bill down the throats of the American people. Largest cut to Medicaid in American history. And as a result, hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health clinics closing all across the country. They stole food from the mouths of hungry children, hungry seniors, hungry veterans, hungry women, from hungry families. And all of this was done so that Republicans could provide massive tax breaks to their billionaire donors that they made permanent. And now they got a problem with our position, which is that the Affordable Care Act tax credits should be extended on a permanent basis. In other words, it's all right to enact tax breaks for the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected so they could subsidize the lifestyles of the rich and shameless. But we don't want no part of, meaning Republicans don't want no part of tax credits for working families related to their health care so that they don't experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles, which is about to happen because of the Republican refusal to act.
The Republican refusal to fix the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, that he embraced. And I remember when President Obama was president of the United States, he wanted to make sure that Americans were, he came at it in a holistic approach, making sure that Americans were well enough and then well enough to work so they could get to work. And now this guts that. So what does this do if indeed it is gutted, if that CR goes through, if you guys finally vote and if the Republicans get what they want, what will it do to the American people?
Well, more than 24 million Americans, every race, every religion, every region, all across the land, rely upon the Affordable Care Act tax credits to be able to afford and access health care that they need for themselves, their children, their families. And if these Affordable Care Act tax credits expire, which is what the Republicans want to do, then you're talking about tens of millions of Americans who are going to lose health care or face medical bankruptcy. How is that acceptable in this country, the wealthiest country in the history of the world? It's not. And so our position that we've communicated to Donald Trump repeatedly, privately and publicly, cancel the cuts, lower the cost, save healthcare. 8 words, bro. You should be able to understand that. 8 words. Cancel the cuts, lower the cost, save healthcare. That's our position. And we're ready to have a discussion about Republicans getting real as it relates to the healthcare of the American people. Anytime, any place, I'm in the Capitol right now. Come find me. We're willing to go back to the Oval Office, but next time we go to the Oval Office, have the cameras rolling.
So you're inviting him to come to the Hill?
He can come to the Hill. J.D. Vance said yesterday, I'll come down to Capitol Hill to sit with Democratic leaders. We said, come see us. We here.
So you're formally inviting him, okay? Because
Correct.
contrary to what people think, he can't just walk up in there. And that's why he didn't just walk up in there on January 6th. Or we forgot about January 6th. No, we didn't. Anyway, the next piece though, everybody, the president keeps saying it's Democrats that he wants to hurt. But the way I understand it, there are over 900,000 people, federal workers, that could be hurt in red states, not just blue states, but these are red states, 900, almost a million people that could be hurt financially. And then not just that, the people who, the businesses that support those federal buildings and federal offices. This is a ripple effect. It's not just federal workers. And this is not only that, white farmers will be hurt because of SNAP. So people who supported Donald Trump, and the focus continues to be Democrats and black and brown people, but it's also those who supported him. Am I correct?
That's absolutely right. First of all, the pain and suffering that Donald Trump has inflicted and Republicans have inflicted on the American people from day one of their presidency impacts everybody. They promised that costs were going to go down on day one. Costs ain't going down. They're going up. Inflation is going up. The Trump tariffs are jamming everybody up. And people are having to pay thousands of dollars more for groceries and goods because of the Trump tariffs. And that's everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're in a blue state, a purple state, a red state, whether you're a Democrat, or independent, or Republican. And April, as you pointed out, the other issue here is federal employees are of every possible political persuasion, and they're located in states that Republicans tend to win and states that Democrats tend to win. They're hurting Americans. This is what Donald Trump and the Republicans are doing. They're hurting Americans, and they could care less because cruelty is the point.
Cruelty is the point. I want to go to your home state, your community. You have a mayor's race. You have a mayor's race that has been like no other. Mamdani, have you had a conversation with him? Where do you stand with him, etc.?
Yeah, I've had two conversations with him. One in July, that was a one-on-one conversation. And then later on in the summer, Congresswoman Clark, myself sat down with prominent members of the Black clergy to discuss issues of importance to the communities that we represent in Central Brooklyn that you're very familiar with, of course. And both were forward-looking conversations. They were community-centered. It was authentic in terms of the back and forth. And I was actually, en route to having another conversation with him because I do want to come to a conclusion here in the mayor's race. And then, of course, the government shutdown situation approached, and that's where all of my attention has been. So what I did say when Eric Adams, the current mayor, announced that he was going to no longer seek re-election is that I'm going to resolve this mayor's issue thing one way or the other before early voting starts. And early voting starts in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, we're going to get resolution on this government shutdown thing in a matter of days because, this does not need to go on, this Trump shutdown. We need to fund the government. We need to reopen it. We need to stand with our federal employees, provide these taxpayer-provided services, and we need to address the Republican healthcare crisis.
Last government shutdown was 38 days.
Yeah, no, listen, what's interesting, we had that shutdown. That was the longest government shutdown in American history. That was in December of 2018 into January of 2019.
It was Christmas time.
That was a Christmas week shutdown.
Painful.
And that's right. No, it was painful. Now, there was the 14-day government shutdown that took place in October of 2013, and that was a full government shutdown. And listen, I think that was, interestingly enough, April, as you know, that was also about the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
Because Republicans were trying to blow it up then, just like they're trying to blow it up right now. These people don't learn.
But wait a minute, the last one though, the longest one, that one was a petty fight because the president then, Donald John Trump, wanted his wall on the southern border funded. And
that's right.
Oh, I know, I was there and I'm still there. And this time he's mad because He doesn't like how you want to deal with the southern border, and he doesn't like your idea of healthcare. So he's going to hold out and doesn't care about the herd.
That's right. And he's lying. It's almost a combination, right? They're lying about the Democratic position.
Mm-hmm.
We're fighting for Medicare, for Medicaid, for hospitals, for nursing homes, for community-based health clinics, for the Affordable Care Act.
Mm-hmm.
And the law is very clear that taxpayer dollars can't be spent for undocumented immigrant. Ain't nobody trying to provide health care in the context of what's happening to undocumented immigrants. That's a Republican lie. That's a Republican lie. And the reason why they're lying is because they're losing.
So the last thing I want to ask you, and I want to thank you for your time. I really want to thank you for your time. And you know, your backdrop looks almost like when Donald Trump was speaking to the generals. I see the juxtaposition. This is the last question. I want you to think long and hard. You are in that line of succession from the late, great Shirley Chisholm, the first Black woman to run for president in 1972. That line, and I'm going to tell you, that line is Shirley Chisholm, who endorsed and asked Ed Towns to run for her seat. Ed Towns, for full transparency, is former congressman of New York, my cousin. And then you got a seat, because I'm correcting your record, because you were saying the wrong thing. And I told my family what you said a couple of weeks ago. They're like, yeah, get it right. But what would the late, great Shirley Chisholm say about this moment, about this fight against Black women, this fight against people, the American people, against humanity? And the fact that, you know, she had a love for the Caribbean nations and things of that nature. And look at what he's doing to the migrants. What would you think that Shirley Chisholm would say in this moment?
It's an honor to stand on the legendary, iconic, heroic shoulders of the great Shirley Chisholm, and of course, to stand on the shoulders of my good friend, your cousin,
That's right.
Congressman who represented the district that I now represent for 30 years,
30 years.
Ed Towns, and did it with style and grace and heart and soul and intellect. And I think what Shirley Chisholm would say is stay on board and stay unbossed. We're in this fight to win this fight for the American people.
Okay, well, you just let us know when the next conversation happens. I'm going to be looking on social media to see the most racist, abhorrent post from a president of the United States. I was so appalled as a Black person. In his mind, he thinks you are Mexican, and you better be careful because he may want to deport you.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll suggest that at some point, looking into my birth certificate, just like he tried to, lie for years
On Obama.
about Barack Obama.
And y'all were born on the same day, so you better be careful. With that said, you see,
August 4th in the building.
I know, the same day. Well, with that said, sir, thank you so much for spending time and sipping some tea with us. Please come back and let us know when you talk to Mamdani and your next meeting with the president. Thank you. And also keep us abreast of what's happening with this shutdown, because there's a lot of hurt out here and people need answers and money.
Absolutely.
And normalized. Yeah. Thank you,
All
sir.
the best. Always great to be with you, April.
Always great to have you as well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.